So we are back in Burnley at a house we were at quite a few months ago now. COVID's been a really interesting time for a lot of us, and the main thing that we've had a problem with is delays with trades. Sure, materials, labor's going up left, right and centre, but when you have people catching COVID on your sites, you just have to stop for 2 weeks, it really freaking sucks. So this site has been going on. It is nearly done, which is awesome. We're about 2 weeks out. It will be done and completely furnished for Christmas. The last push is underway. So about 2.5 weeks left on this now. So we are at the stage where we are finalizing our second fix electric, our second fix plumbing, putting on things like shower screens and cladding, and getting the kitchen fitted. Otherwise, we got plaster work that was literally finished this morning while we were here. The paint is still wet. And you know what? I'm really pleased with this house. Really pleased. We've been able to save a lot of the features, we've been able to keep a lot of the character with the property, and we have a gorgeous 6-bed, all ensuite, double room HMO. Let's have a look around. So I mentioned the kitchen's going in, and here it is, although it won't be going in this room, obviously. And here is some of the beautiful features we're able to keep, like this gorgeous ceiling rose. When you're looking at keeping certain units, a lot of the reasons for keeping them are obvious, but why you couldn't, some people don't necessarily understand. For example, why can't you just keep a ceiling rose there? It's a ceiling, right? Thing is, with HMOs, you've got to worry about your fire containment. And that isn't just your doors and your alarms, it's also between the floors, between the walls, all that kind of side of things. So on this one, you know, we really didn't want to have to overboard it. We wanted to keep these gorgeous features, and we were able to because of a new paint that's come out, because it gives us that fire compartmentalization that we need to keep all this stuff. So really super happy about this, and you can see the size of this room is absolutely massive. I mean, I'm probably about 4 or 5 meters from the camera now, and I'm still in the bay. There's loads of natural light. We've got brand new windows throughout, new doors. Literally everything is brand new on this, and even some of the flooring is new. So yeah, I really like this one. Really like this one. I've got an ensuite in the corner, and all this kitchen is due to go in the kitchen, obviously. It's due to go in the kitchen sometime next week as soon as the plaster is dry. It's cold. You've got to factor this stuff in when you're looking at construction, whether you're in development, whether you're in little sites like this. You know, the temperature of a house, the temperature outside can genuinely affect your timescales. Plaster work needs to dry. If you're laying block work, it needs to be above 2 degrees or you can't lay block work. Christmas is a really interesting time, and if you're going to be doing construction work or any kind of refurb work, you want to get that done before Christmas wherever possible. Awesome, so we have some more features up here as well, being able to keep. Again, super happy about this. The only thing we're not gonna be able to keep, unfortunately, is this banister. So this banister at the moment is not high enough, it needs to be about another 100 mil higher. It is existing, so you can get away with a slightly lower sort of height than a new banister, but it's still not gonna be high enough for what we need. It's still not gonna be compliant, and the amount of time it would take and the cost of the labor to individually lift all of these spindles and put in a new rail and all the rest of it, just not really worth it. So we're gonna put a brand new rail in, and that's the only feature we weren't able to keep, and we have, look at that, temporary lighting that's very temporary, as you can see. So moving through. This room was an interesting one as well, because we had so much damp, like all of that back wall, that window, it was all completely shot. So we've actually had to pad out some of the joists around here. We've done full damp courses, we've had chimney work, we've had guttering work. This house was just full of damp. It was an old one. I mean, the place hadn't been refurbed in like 30 years. This is the one with our council tax bills in the house that were older than me. But as you can see, the place is looking absolutely gorgeous. So we haven't got any feature walls on yet. It's not gonna be a hospital, it's not gonna be all white, but we have, as you can see, second fix electric has started there. We haven't quite finished, and obviously the radiators are still to go on, things like that. And in here, we have our en-suites. It's important to note with your en-suites, I spoke about this before, try and keep them back to back. So we've got our sewer pipes running out there with the manhole just outside. We've got a nice sort of place to connect. But look at where your sewer pipes are when you're looking at configuring your rooms, and consider whether or not it's actually worth putting an en-suite in all of your rooms. It may not make sense. In this particular case, it does, because the area wants it. The rooms are massive, so it just makes sense. This is a really nice size ensuite, as you can see. I'm not struggling to move around. Obviously, that toilet is not gonna stay there. Think things through when you're building your house and you're thinking about where you wanna put stuff, which way your door's gonna open, that kind of side of things. It makes a huge difference. When you come to do your feature walls and your furnishing, try and make your house stand out. One thing we considered on this particular property was actually doing some wood paneling feature walls rather than just a straight up color. Now, because of the increased cost of materials and specifically wood recently, we haven't decided to do that, but it's something you might want to consider for your HMOs, especially if you're doing a slightly higher end one, or you're a little bit further south, or you just want to make that property stand out. So the other cool thing about this property is it actually has the potential to be a 7-bed HMO. We've got a basement that we can go down into, which is just through here. The door used to be there, but we have to have a certain amount of distance for regulations. And again, a lot of the work we've done in this house is in preparation for work that we might want to do later. So for example, the reason that we've decided to keep the chimney breast in here, apart from the ridiculous cost of taking it out and boarding this side up to make it flush, is we can have a kitchen that goes all the way around while still enabling us to get out and choose to extend out the back if we want a bit more communal space. The basement is like this, and we've extended this wall through here because the kitchen door used to be here. This used to be a wall. The reason we've done it this way is it means that we can still put a fire door on this end. We haven't got to worry about it down the other end. We've separated out all the services, so we've still got access to our DB boards and our gas meters, all that kind of side of thing. So we can still access that, even if we have a tenant downstairs. There's air ventilation, there's damp course has all been done. So the basement isn't a lettable room yet because we need to go for planning if you want to make it a 7-bed, but in the future, this property can be a 7-bed should we want to do it. And a lot of the really expensive works have already been done, so that doesn't mean we need any retrofitting. It just means a case of changing that back door, adding some communal space, some extra work sort of downstairs, plasterboard it, that kind of side of things. But the hard work, that's already been done. And we've even left a connection to our existing soil stack, so when we want to put in our new ensuite downstairs, we're not having to start retrofitting soil pipes and changing fittings and fixtures to enable that to work. So this property, I genuinely can't remember whether or not it had central heating. It was one of those that's so old that I can't remember, but we have a brand new boiler in here and it's a big enough boiler. If you're putting en suites in, have a conversation with your builders about the size of boiler you're gonna need. If you've got 6 en suites, you can't just stick in a 24 kilowatt boiler and expect it to be able to power everything. It won't be able to handle it. So yes, boilers could be £1,500 a house for supply and fit, sure, but on a bigger property, they are going to cost more. Equally, this kitchen is not your standard 9 or 10 unit kitchen. You're gonna need at least 2 cupboards for each tenant you have in a house. So if this is a 6-bed HMO, we need 12 cupboards plus 2 ovens. I think we'll go for 8 hobs in here as well. So when you're thinking about your kitchen, don't just think about what you need for licensing or what you think you can actually fit in there or fits with your budget. You've got to consider what a tenant's needs are gonna be. Are you gonna be able to rent that property out? And when you're doing an HMO, you've got to balance licensing and legal requirements of regulation with what does the market want? This is why it's not always best to put en suites in, but sometimes it is. This is why you go above and beyond with things like your kitchen, because it needs to be bigger so your tenants are going to be happy, so they stay longer. So you've got to kind of think of it on 2 ways. And when you're buying a property for investment, you're thinking about a 20 or 30 year period here that you'll be owning the house. It's not a 2-week, 3-week thing. It's like a flip where you just need to look good so you can sell it and then you're done. If you're doing a rental property, doing all the extra bits in the background, like a bigger boiler than you need to ensure that it's not working at maximum all the time so it lasts a few more years, that kind of stuff, that pays off in the long run. So upstairs, we have 4 large double rooms, all with ensuite. This was a really kind of weird property. I mean, the room we're about to go into here, it was separated out. So this was a step, this was still the stairs, kind of like the hallway. Then there was another wall here with a doorway into that bedroom and a doorway here into the bathroom. So the obvious way to solve this, move your door back a little bit, incorporate the existing bathroom into the rest of the bedroom, and now you have a really good sized double room, plenty of natural light from all these windows, beautiful sized ensuite there. It's a nice room, it's a nice room. And to be honest with you, HMOs tend to get a little bit samey at this point. They're just big rooms with nice ensuites, but some of the work you have to do to make sure it works is important. In here, the level between the bathroom and the bedroom in terms of the floor levels weren't the same, so we've had to pack the joist up a little bit. It wasn't too much, but even just a tiny slope in your rooms can be enough that people feel a bit wonky or it doesn't work, and of course you have structural issues as well. You can't just lift your floorboards up all the way. You can't just move a joist up 2 feet and expect it to be fine. Like, there's other things that need to be considered. So if you do have wonky floors and you want to fix them, make sure you get it quoted, because sometimes it's cheap, but sometimes it's very expensive. You want to fix that. So again, up here, we considered moving into the loft to create an extra bedroom, but it was actually cheaper and made more sense to use the basement. So all of this, we had a void in between, so we lifted the ceiling up, taking advantage of the full ceiling height. We had a wall that was here, that ran pretty much all the way, with a doorway into that bedroom just there. Then we had a doorway here, which then opened up into another room. And then here, there was these two crazy kind of triangle shaped rooms. We had like a stud wall that was halfway between the two. It's very odd. No one really understands what it is, but sometimes these are the best houses to do. It's really easy to just restructure stuff. We had loads of damp on the chimney. All that's been fixed. We've had new flashing put on. We've replaced a couple of the slip tiles. We've repointed it as well, new cowling, a full chimney overhaul. Obviously taken out this weird kind of stud layout, and we now have 2 en suites either side of here, on top of the ones that are downstairs. So it's a really nice property that's worked out really, really well. This is the smallest room, and it's still got an ensuite in. It's still big enough for a 3/4 size bed, not quite a full double, but it's got a massive large window. It has its own bathroom. All the walls are insulated on the outside as well, so it's a really, really efficient house. It's gonna be, the EPC is gonna be a lot higher than it was before, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this one not only tenanted and furnished, but revalued as well. So if you're looking to get into bigger deals or bigger construction works, bigger refurb projects, starting out with sites like this where you're doing some en-suites, maybe do some extension, dealing with damp work, structural work, all that kind of stuff is really, really handy when you want to make that leap into development. And bear in mind, development can be as small as a little pub you convert into 6 apartments, or you're building 1 or 2 houses, or it can be building a 13-story tower block in the center of London. It all starts with sites like this. So if you're just getting into property or you want to make that move into development, look at the refurbs you're currently doing, look to see how you can start adding value, how you can get a little bit more creative, and how you can increase the scale of the stuff that you're doing. So if you're wondering how you can get into sites like this and how you can make that jump into development, check out the Property Success Series at the link in the description below this video. Can't wait to be working with you. Until next time, hit the like button, or if you didn't like it, that button works just fine as well. Hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.